Her name is Elena. She had spent years building a future with someone she believed would stay forever. They had dreams, plans, promises whispered late at night. But forever ended on a quiet Sunday afternoon. No warning. No explanation. Just a final conversation, and the sound of the door closing behind him. Elena stood in the middle of her living room, feeling her heart break in slow motion. The silence in the house felt louder than her sobbing. The life she imagined disappeared in a single moment. The days that followed were blurry. Elena stopped answering calls. Stopped cooking. Stopped smiling. Stopped caring. It felt like a shadow had wrapped itself around her chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to remember that life existed outside her pain. She slept too much, ate too little, and avoided anything that reminded her of him, which was everything. Her friends visited. Her mother called. But nothing reached her. She felt alone in a world full of people. One evening, after hours of staring at the ceiling, Elena finally stood up. She didn't know why, or where she was going. Her body simply moved before her mind could think. She stepped outside, letting the cool air hit her face. She walked without direction, past familiar streets and unfamiliar ones, until she found herself standing in front of a small, old bookstore, one she had passed 100 times but never entered. A warm light glowed from inside. Something pulled her toward the door. The bookstore smelled of old pages and quiet comfort. An elderly man behind the counter looked up and smiled gently. Not the kind of smile that forces happiness, but the kind that says, "You're safe here." She wandered through the aisles, running her fingers across dusty spines, still feeling the heaviness in her chest. She stopped in front of a shelf she couldn't explain. A worn-out book caught her eye. Before she could reach for it, the bookstore owner appeared beside her. He picked up the same book, held it out to her, and said softly, "This one finds the people who need it." Elena blinked. He didn't explain. He didn't have to. She took the book home. That night she opened the book. The first page said, "Sometimes healing begins the moment you decide your story isn't over." Her breath caught. She kept reading. Each chapter felt like it was written specifically for her. Her pain, her heartbreak, her loneliness. The words held her like gentle hands. They didn't erase the hurt, but they reminded her she wasn't the only one who had ever felt broken. Slowly, her tears changed. Not from heartbreak, but from release. Scene 6. Rebuilding herself 1 minute. Over the next days, she read the book cover to cover. Some pages twice. Some chapters again and again. She began journaling, writing out the emotions she had buried, letting her heart breathe again. She started cooking again, going for walks again, opening the windows again. Her healing wasn't fast. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The shadow around her chest began to loosen. Healing needs to begin. They spoke for a while, not about her breakup, but about life, books, growth, and gentle beginnings. She left with a new book, not because she was broken this time, but because she was becoming whole. Healing doesn't always arrive in grand gestures, or through the people who hurt us, or in the ways we expect. Sometimes healing comes quietly, through books, strangers, small spaces, and moments that remind you that you are still living, still learning, still growing. If you're hurting right now, if your heart feels heavy, remember, you will find your place of healing. And one day, you'll breathe again without it hurting. Your journey is not over.